Hello, my friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we are doing our Tool Time Tuesday focus of punches. And I am so glad that you're here. We have some chatting to do about punches. If you've been crafting for a while, you may have some of these in your stash. It's not 100% necessary, but if you've been crafting for a little while, you more than likely have some of these. So the first part of this video is really going to be showing you the possibilities that there are for punches, right? Rather than kind of just looking at this like a hexagon, a tab, circles, exactly what you're seeing, a heart. And it's something that I came across. It's nothing new. It's not anything I've invented, but I'm going to talk about that in a second. And then I'm going to show you some, probably what I will show you first after talking about some of these. I will show you some examples of how I incorporate punches into my layouts. And then we'll dive even a little bit deeper into seeing what's out there. What is out there of how can I extend what I already have? I've invested in all of these. How can I use them so that it serves me better? So we'll do some of that. So for me, these is just a sampling of the different punches that I have right in the drawer right next to me. And the reason why these are here is that these are my most used punches for the most part. I do have another drawer where I do have some additional punches, but I reach for those a lot less often. And what I don't have in here are some of the smaller ones, like this one. They're in my drawer, but it was just kind of too much to bring on the surface. And then the other thing that's not here are my border punches. Those are really great. You can add a lot of pop and dimension to your pages with those border punches as well. I'm not so much going to focus on that. I'm going to focus mostly on kind of the basic shapes of punches that are out there, and that may be worth looking into if you're just starting, whether you're just starting out or you don't own any punches. I just find that I absolutely tend to kind of gravitate towards my favorites. If I were to say one or two, it would definitely be my hexagon punch and my circle punches. Now, I have a variety of different sizes of the circle punches. So I do use those for different things. If you've been with me for a little while, you know that I love like doing the last, doing kind of the finishing touches from leftover pattern paper with parts of the circles. So I'm going to show you a couple of base pages that I made using punches. And let's see. I'm going to start with this one because this I already talked about being my favorite shape. So take a look at this one. This is it's a very rough base page because I know that I have not yet finished it, right? I wanted to take into consideration everything in terms of the class that I took, but I didn't have the photos at the time. And that comes with time. If you've been following my channel, you know that I have a playlist dedicated to base pages, and I love working with them. I love making kits. And so those are something that I really love. But here you see a scattering of the different hexagons, and where you've made, where there's a main cluster, is a kind of medium-sized cluster, and a small cluster, but using the same pattern papers, if you will. So this is just one example, and it doesn't matter how many of these you have. If you just punch extra, keep them. I have kept them. I definitely punched out extras, even not even full sized ones, meaning it doesn't have the full shape like that. But I just keep them because I do like to embellish and tuck, and I may not always need a full size hexagon to do the tucking. So there's one. Here is another one. If you have, for example, a star punch and you have maybe a couple of different sizes, here is another. And you can repeat any of these with any kinds of shapes, right? So if maybe you don't have stars, but you have some other shape, whether it's hearts or you have squares that you can turn like almost like diamonds. That's another, you can play around pretty much. It's a very versatile and forgiving example to be able to kind of just use with whatever kind of punch you have. And obviously any of these can be adapted to use metal dies as well. So if you don't have one, you may have the other, and you can create anything sort of like this as well. Okay. And let me show you this. This is a mix. I will say this is a mix of dies and punches. So I don't want to give the false sense of the fact that all of these are punches. But you see the intermingling. Again, you're punching things out. Obviously, if you're using like a 6x6 paper pad or you're using a collection, those papers are all meant to go together. And so that might be a great place to start if you're thinking about doing something like this. And then last but not least, this is a 2-page layout. I'm only going to show 1 page because I haven't finished it. And I'm going to show you, hold on if I can get it out of the sleeve here. Oop. Okay. And then this is one side of the base page. And then I'm going to show you, I used one of the punches that I have and just use the extra pattern papers. You'll see like there's that pattern paper. Here's a different pattern paper, but then you can absolutely pop these up. That's from that pattern paper. And you can intermingle. That's that same pattern paper. See, you can't even tell that it's that one. And you can add dimension to this by just popping these up. If you want a little bit more purple, like up here, maybe we don't want those together, more off to the side. You get the gist. You can layer them and you make your own embellishments with the punches. But I'm going to show you some other stuff that I was just, when I first signed up for this series, I was like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to show people like what it is that, you know, with punches? Wow. I was one of those that very much like, I see a circle, I'm going to punch a circle, and I only see a circle. That's my camp, right? Well, let me tell you, there is such a thing as punch art. So for example, I'm going to give you an example of some punch art on my iPad, because my next phase of I need to select a layout to work on. And my hope is that I can use some of this punch art that I can create with any of the punches in my stash. But what it is essentially is if you go into whether it's Google, you go into Pinterest, try searching for the words punch art, and you will be amazed. There is so much you can create with even a simple shape like a circle. And let me show you. Okay. Do you see this? Let me try to hopefully not get a glare. Let me just position myself. Okay, so here you see they have this particular content creator on Pinterest. This is Circle Punches by Memory Lane Cards. It's from Split Coast Stampers. I remember they used to have, I don't know if they used to have a show. I don't know. They've been around for a really long time. But take a look at how they used their circle punches, right? So if you had to make, like if you were making something like about a video game from, I'm dating myself, from the 80s, Pac-Man, take a look at these pumpkins just by using different color cardstock. Very easy. Take a look at this watermelon as well. Isn't that adorable? It's like 2 punches, basically cut in half. And you can even use, if you have a scalloped circle, you can just make the bite marks with the scalloped circle punch. Amazing. Here's a cornucopia. Look at that. That's like gorgeous. And the rest of these are all circles. Not the leaves, obviously, or the corn, but it's just a bunch of circles. They have fish. Look at that bunny and candy. Like, don't tell me you don't have like a little circle, that hopefully you have a circle, but you can just write on the scraps of that color, the different color M&Ms. And you can just write an M&M inside the circle. Very cute. So let me show you that same, because it is the season, right? Look at this one. You see that one? If even if you're not a fan of football, that's pretty cool. Like, you start off with the circle, and for my football mamas, like, this is perfect. You don't have to go and buy embellishments necessarily. If you have, the circle punches, maybe you have the circle punches, and this, I don't know how you would make that though. It might be another punch, but it might just be a V that you just cut out. But I mean, you think about how you can customize these to, if your kids play football, you can customize this to their own team colors, which is pretty cool. Let me see if I can, here's another circle punches one. Look at this one. This is a pig. You can see they're all labeled sheep. Look at the dog, the lion. I love it. I love it. I love it so much. Look at the elephant and the frog. Oh my God. So cute. So adorable. This one really did it for me. Look at that one. Isn't that adorable? Oh my goodness. If you have the dotted circle, the scallop circle punches, some flower punches. I think this is like an oval. So cute. So cute. Oh, okay. So those were the circles. Now, say for example, you had, what was the one I was looking for? Say you had, let me see. This was really cute too. And this can work with rounded circles, but take a look at this one. This was it's a balloon punch, but it actually, you're turning the balloons so that the point of the balloon is turned inside, and then you're embellishing the center. Isn't that gorgeous? I love that one myself. So those are what I would consider like the kind of, you can get them like they can be very, very simple. Look at this, going back to school one, right? Pencil. And so you see here, they break it down. You have three different shapes. You have the circle, you have this square that's scalloped. If you have a scalloped, even if you have a border punch that's a scallop, you can do this. And then if you have a heart, you can also, and then you put it together. You have these black pieces of paper, just a little strip and a point up there. You put those all together, and you just cut out the sides of the heart and trim off, whatever you don't need. and you get the shape of a pencil. So adorable. Oh, so cute. Let's see. But so you can actually select the type of the type of punch that you have. So for example, say you don't have any of these punches, but maybe you have some other type of punch, like let's see, like a what's a good punch? Let's see. Say you only have border punches, okay? And say you have a punch that looks like that, if you can see that. But take a look at the steps. They show you, you just need 3 pieces of paper. You need that scalloped edge or something that resembles a scalloped edge of something. You may have metal dies that can make that shape. And then you just build it together, cut the angle so that it does kind of, you see how it makes the shape of a cupcake. And then you just layer the top with a cherry or whatever. You could do sprinkles, you know, with confetti, whatever you want. So adorable, so cute. But then you're not having, if you're never going to use it again, you're not having to necessarily create that. I will say I was very partial to the scalloped edge punch for some reason. But look at this. This is another creator who was doing this for swaps. And that's a great, the use of scraps and many swaps are done. I think they probably use their tools much they definitely, I think, make a good use of their tools when folks that participate in swaps or even in situations when they're having to make their own embellishments, or, you know, I don't know. I have, you know, a newfound respect for folks, because that just shows me like they're really they really enjoy. Oh my God. So here's one of my favorite ones. I am very partial to the scalloped edge circle, but look at it. I'm going to show you different ways how it's so versatile. So take a look at this one. This particular one just involves that scallop punch, a circle punch there in the brown to make these beautiful sunflowers. It looks like this creator is just kind of cutting into to make like the petals, if you will. But here I'm going to show you. So that's like a pretty easy one in my eyes. Maybe not everybody's eyes, but for me, it looks easy to me. But look at this one. This one shows you, I hope you're not seeing too much glare. This one shows you how to make hearts with a scallop circle. You just punch the circle, and then you mark the center, and then you make the cut into the circle about 2 scallops. So, you know, it's 2 scallops width. And then you end up with a bunch of them, like 7 hearts. So adorable. Now, this one is going to blow your mind, because I know it did me. This one I was like, oh, wow, this is amazing. You can make dresses out of the scallop punch. Isn't that beautiful? And then you embellish with the rhinestones or the bling you have in your stash, and it makes for a beautiful. And this particular creator is like, she even shows you the cuts, where to make the cuts, you know, and how to do the layers. She even numbers them. Like it's a whole thing. It's beautiful. So yeah, so I'm really partial to that scallop one. But look at this. Look at how funny it is. You could even make a cheeseburger with the scallop punch as the lettuce down there. And there's another one down here where they make a buggy. Let me just try to find it. Yep. Here's a baby buggy. Scallop circle, ribbon border. They just punch that out. And the two 3/4 inch circle. They adhered those. So here's the parts cut out. They use some eyelets, old school. And they just put it together. So adorable. I don't know what they use for this. Almost looks like a zipper, right? I don't know. You'd have to maybe play with some twine or something, but you could make the handle, I think, pretty easily. So all of that to say is that there are very many possibilities to be able to use the punches that you have in your stash to create things other than their respective shapes. All right, so I am going to get busy trying to decide what I want to scrap and what I might be able to how I might be able to incorporate the use of punches into my layout. So I'll be back. Okay, friends, I am back, and I have been taking a look at my punches, the punches that I own. So you will see that these are the ones that I am thinking about using. I'm not going to necessarily use all of them, but these are ones that I have in my stash. Oh my gosh, these I had totally even forgotten about. I don't know how long these have even been. These are EK Success, both of these. This is a Marvi Ukita, also has been in my stash. I didn't even know I had floral bunches. That will tell you everything. And these are a couple of more EK Successes. These I know about and have loved them and used them repeatedly throughout the years. I will say, because I've been doing some test ones, this is like a little bit harder to punch. And maybe just because they haven't been used very much compared to these smaller ones, which is like, woo, I can punch all day if I wanted to. So anyway, tangent. I have pulled out some base pages, and I'm going to be doing a series of layouts regarding this specific event. So I have gone ahead and I've chosen to use, I had 3 base pages. I actually had more, but I only needed 3 base pages. So that's what I'm going to be using for the next few layouts, where I'm going to be incorporating the punches. And that's what will be the the collection that I'm using and the embellishments. Hopefully, if these, I get them to work and what have you. So here, I'm just going to show you the first one. I still have to mat the photos. I still have to cut them down probably a little bit. But these are the 2. Isn't that lovely? Like, it goes perfect with this collection. So I'm thinking about replicating, even though it's a fall photo, I'm okay with that. That's why I brought the leaves in, just in case I wanted to do something. But I'm thinking that I can bring in some of the colors from here and from the rest of the collection. I have some scraps from the collection, like this one, where I may be able to punch some things out of here. I have my yellow scraps next to me. I have some green scraps next to me, not from the collection, but just from my regular bin of scraps. I also, off to the side over here, have my scraps from the collection. They're very patterned. But I can at least try it, right? And then I also have this 6x6 paper pad, should I need a little bit smaller scale. So I'm going to try to make most of my embellishments, because the embellishments that come with this collection are really more about home and family, house type motifs. Let me just show you. If you have this one, this is the Heart of Home. Just going to show you what I mean. Celebrate together, blessed. Like, some of these I can definitely probably use, but the sentiments are a little bit different. They're not about the outdoors or anything like that. So it's more about, home, family type stuff. Here's another one, because I was thinking about even punching or cutting out some of these, but we'll see where it goes. I do love this. It's a beautiful collection, I will say. All right, so I'm probably gonna end up doing most of this off camera, but I will come back and I will show you maybe an interim share of where kind of things are at with maybe the clusters kind of positioned but not glued down. So I'll come back. Hey guys, just doing a quick check-in. I was moving right along and then I realized, I'm like, I never did the little check-in that I said I was going to try to do. So I have gone ahead, adhered my photos. You will see I just took this green paper, a cardstock from my stash. I didn't have a full sheet of it. So I matted my photos up here, and I'm actually going to do my clusters in these two areas here. And so I'm going to just kind of disguise the fact that there's no cardstock there somehow. But I did go ahead and I did use this punch. I used this punch, and you'll see there's a whole array of different punches still left here that I can intermingle. But for the most part, I think I'm pretty happy with, I can even tuck some of these that didn't punch out quite right, or I got them too much on the edge of the paper. I did find this in the cut-aparts for the collection, so I just decided to use that as my title. I went ahead and I inked it with navy blue, which you will see throughout this particular collection. The pink is also from a 6x6 paper. It was just a scrap, and the yellow is from my stash. I went back and I looked at the time frames of when these photos were taken. And so this is these particular were they were taken very late winter, and she was in a kind of a mid-Atlantic climate. So this is like what was the beginning of spring. So I didn't mind using the little flowers here because I struggled with that if these were fall photos, but it's fine. I think the choices were pretty good. And so I just inverted, I used this as inspiration, this little flower, and I just inverted the colors because the white here, like it wasn't doing anything for me. So I decided to go with the yellow and with the white center. I did go ahead and ink all of the flowers and the title, what's going to serve as the title. I mentioned the title is inked in navy blue, and the rest of the flowers are inked in gathered twig distress ink. All right, so these were actually not that bad. I think it might just be with like how often you use them. So they seem to be getting better as I was going along. Sorry, I was just trying to punch out one of the things from inside there. So I'm going to continue to build my layers, and I will come back with the finished layout. Hey guys, I am back with almost the finished layout. I am just going to do a little bit of sprinkling with some enamel dots and do the journaling, and then making sure that I tack all of these little spaces with my liquid glue. So I need to do that, but I wanted to just walk you through and show you how I came up with the finished product. I think I did the previous clip kind of just showed you the beginning cluster here. I did go through, so these are paper punch outs using the punches that I had pulled, a couple of them. And then this flower here is from the sticker sheet. These leaves are also from the sticker sheet, as well as this arrow. I did go ahead, I had a piece of scrap, and I'll show you how you can really use your punches for different things. So, this collection came with some cut-aparts, I think I mentioned. And so it came with a whole bunch of these, right? There was a whole thing, and this is one of them. I love the fact that it was earth tone. So I just went ahead and used my my hexagon punch to go ahead and do the fishtail. So if you've never seen this before, this has been around for a while, but you can just use the hexagon punch. Maybe you do a better job than I did here. I cut it crooked, which did not help. So let me try that again. So see, and I went ahead, I inked it, and you don't need to use the whole thing. If you don't want to, you can just cut this part. It's still crooked, whatever. It's much better, obviously, if you do like if you don't rush and if you cut a straight line to begin, if it's in a straight line to begin with. So you just have to play around with it. It's fine. This one, it was one try. I wasn't rushing. It was a straight line to begin with. No issues whatsoever. Okay. So I did the sprinkling of the different flowers. And then I do have my Jen Hadfield die cuts in one of my die cut composition notebooks. I have, if you're interested in kind of wanting to know how I set these up there, I will try to make sure that I put a link at the end of this video to the playlist for the organization, where you can find a lot of resources there if you're interested. But I just went through my Jen Hadfield. This is the die cuts for the particular collection that I'm working with. But it started to refresh my memory that I did go ahead and use my 2-inch punch to go ahead and cut out these sentiments from the 3x4 cards. So I must have had like multiples perhaps, and I just went ahead and thought I would use them better. And sure enough, let me just flip this over here. I did find a partial one over here, so I did just ink that a little bit and put that here. And then there was the same, but it was too much white, so I just went ahead and inked it. And I think it just brings everything, it just kind of pulls everything together, and everything I know matches because obviously it's from the same collection. So I hope this has inspired you. Get those tools out, guys. I'm going to be working, since I'm kind of on a roll with this one, and I know I have accompanying photos. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to keep working. Okay, guys, I am back with the finished layout here. I think I showed you this one, and I will insert some close-ups at the end here. But I'm going to just show you the companion pages as well, since I just finished those up. So I have some enamel dots already placed. So here are the companion pages. I hope I can get this all in one shot here. Sort of. You'll get the gist anyway. So here are the additional, let me see if I can try to zoom. There we go. You can see that I continued, because it's the same, essentially the same time frame for the photos. I did continue the whole yellow, the white inside, everything is inked, as well as some of the other flowers. This one I decided, again, this is also a punch. I just decided to just overlap them and just turn them a little bit, and that's why you get the feeling of more petals. I have this with dimensional foam. I have, these are die cuts from the collection, and these are just strips of paper. This is another die cut. These I use punches for. These butterflies were elements from the 3x4 cards, and I just went ahead and I just cut them. These here, all of the circles that you see on here, on both pages, are just with one of my circle punches, and then I've gone ahead and I've inked them. These again are scraps, and I just did a little flag there and just set one of the flowers there and just finished that off with some enamel dots. I really liked the little bird's nest up here, and so I just went ahead and I pulled that from the die cuts and then just added this heart from my stash. And that, my friends, is 3 pages of layouts and photos that are ready for her album. I'm going to have her go ahead and journal whenever she wants. I have the dates somewhere. I have those handy, so I can go ahead and I can put that once I adhere this. Maybe I'll just put a label over here. All right, so that completes these layouts. I'm so glad that you were able to join me, if you hung out with me. And you can see how, oh, this was also a punch. Yes, this was also one of my punches, my circle punches. So I tend to do this quite a bit, but I added the little flares for the flowers because I just knew this collection obviously spoke to me, and so did the photos. So I'm glad I was able to kind of make them work. And so I hope that it will inspire you to go ahead and take a look at your punches and see what you have and incorporate that perhaps into your next layout. All right, guys, until next time, bye for now. I want to thank you so much for watching.